Okay, everybody, there you have it. More curling coming your way. That was the men's draw is underway. The women's is coming up. The mixed doubles is in the bag. Greetings, everybody. Welcome to Inside Curling's Daily Draw, presented by Coolbet for Wednesday, February 9th, 2022. That was a little clip of Sweden, Adine. Little final draw there. Coolbet is a proud sponsor of curling and, frankly, all things ice-related. The logo is a polar bear, after all. If you love sports, make sure you join the thousands of people already enjoying life inside the Coolbet community. So we've been bringing you this each and every day, and we're going to keep doing it every day through the Olympics. The shows drop about 1 o'clock. Thank you all for tuning in and listening. And up to now, it's been me, Kevin, and Warren, the studs, really, okay, of podcast curling. And Kevin is now the Walking Dead. Okay, because he's had about 6 minutes sleep, I think, Warren, okay, in the last week.
Well, it's
so we gave him a day.
One more minute than I've had.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, both of you. So we gave Kevin the day off, so we had to pick someone, okay, and he slight vote, 8 votes to 7. We're bringing on, how about this, Olympic gold medalist 2010 with Kevin, 2008 world champion, 13 Brier appearances. 4-time Brier champion, and he was voted the greatest male lead of Canadian curling. I'm glad Wikipedia clarified that, Ben, and put in male lead. Okay, that's what they say on that deal. Our guest this morning, Ben Hebert, joins us. How are you, Ben?
Hey, boys. Yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. Little bit of curling going on, so lots to talk about.
Yeah, there is lots to talk about. Unbelievable stats, of course, that you have. You went to the Olympics, Ben. We get to hear from Olympians all the times, and they try and put into words, whether they win or not, or whether they medal or not, how overwhelming it is for them to be at the Olympics. You've done it all, world champion, Briers, and Olympic gold. Can you remember back then, Ben, when you ended up in Vancouver and realizing you guys were going to play at the Olympics? What's the biggest thing that stuck out to you when you did arrive in Vancouver, or putting the whole 2 weeks in perspective?
Yeah, I think looking back on it, that was a long time ago, but, certainly, the biggest difference I found was playing for the bigger Team Canada, not playing just for the curling side of Team Canada, playing for all the other athletes. When you go to I always find when I've been to World Championships representing Canada, you are representing your country and you're representing Canada, but I find you're representing the curling community. I find it more of a curling pressure than anything else. And I found at the Olympic Games it was a nationwide pressure. You're not just having curling fans watching the World Championships, right? You're having sports fans watching. And there's a heck of a lot of sports fans in Canada, a lot more than there is just curling. So you can feel that as a player. When you roll into the village and you're in the small little, like I'll use bubble as a term, even though it wasn't a bubble back then, but you're still in an Olympic bubble. You're with all the athletes, all the coaches, all the people that, work their tails off to get there, meeting the other athletes, hearing their stories about how they got to the games and what they overcame. And, the players over there right now, maybe a little bit of a different vibe with the current situation, but, they're probably having the time of their lives. I've seen a few things on social media of them taking some pics and enjoying their time, and right. I think they're going to. I think they're all going to do well, and if they don't, they earn their spot to get over there. And it's the Olympic Games. You try to enjoy it. There's so much stress and pressure that goes on representing your country. It doesn't matter if it's World Championships or Olympics, but man, those 2 weeks they go by fast, and I hope they get to do some fun stuff and have some great memories. Because 2010 we won. Obviously, Olympics was amazing in Canada. Cherry on top, we win the gold. 2018, we didn't win, and at the time it was tough to swallow, and it hurt. But I look back at those games and see some pictures of family and friends and the experiences there that we got, and it was an amazing trip as well.
Yeah, cool. How are you spending your time now between now and the Brier? There's obviously a bunch of curling on. Walk us through that for you over the next several weeks.
Yeah, I had a unique little experience this past weekend for Curling Day in Canada. We got to play an outdoor game at Mosaic Stadium where I grew up in Regina. That was a lot of fun with Team Cooey. We played Team Dunstone on outdoor natural ice, curled about 10%, but ton of fun. It was snowing. We got to play, stayed in the rider dressing room, and that was a unique experience. You know, someone at my age, I don't get to experience new things too often because I've done everything, it seems. But that was a lot of fun. Took me back to kind of like old school fun junior curling days, and that was great. And now our focus shifts to the Brier. So, you know, we're really looking forward to the hometown Brier here in Lethbridge, being Team Alberta. You know, having that early qualification gave us a lot of time off here to prep and get ready. And, you know, Team Cooey's always ready for the Brier. So we're going to be working hard and getting a lot of practice in at the Glencoe here and get ready to put on a show because we'd love to finish the season with a Brier win, and I think we have a good opportunity.
Right on. We're going to put you to work today. What we've been doing through these shows is giving a wrap on the games, and then, as importantly, because everyone can lay down a few bucks, you know, through Coolbet, and then we get Warren and Kevin's predictions. But today we're going to get yours. Okay, so are you betting on the games a little bit?
I've dabbled. I got killed. I got killed at the Scotties.
Okay, so let's get to it, Warren. The men's is underway. Started last night. There were 4 games, including the all-important game, of course, is Brad Gushew's there. So what happened, Warren? What shook down last night?
Well, first of all, everyone was on the ice except Italy and Great Britain, which I guess Italy with Masan are playing third. We're glad to have the rest. Anyway, our game that everyone would be interested in is Canada versus Denmark, team we haven't heard a lot about. The skip is Mads Norgard, but third player Mikkel Kraus throws the final rock. The first half of the game was a pretty tight score. After 5 ends, 5-4 in Canada's favor, on the strength of 3 that they scored in the fourth end. The sixth was a big end for Canada. Kraus tried an angle-raised double for a possible 3. He missed it. Canada steals 2 and goes in front 7-4. In the seventh, Gushue makes a great hit and roll. Kraus plays another double, gets a single. Canada's now in front 7-5. But the eighth was the end of it. Gushue made a last rock double takeout for 3. Score went to 10-5, and Denmark conceded. Pretty good game for Canada. Jeff Walker was the high man on the ice. He was at 95%. I think he was the highest score of anybody out there today on all 4 sheets, and Gushue was a very respectable 80%. The other game I think that everyone would be interested in particular, as we have a lot of listeners in the USA, would be the USA game against the Russian Olympic Committee team. Tight game. After 5 ends, it was 3-2 in favor of Russia. Schuster makes a great freeze. ROC wrecks, and the USA steals 1, ties the score at 3-3. ROC hits and stays, looking at 2 USA counters in the 7th, and now it's 4-3 in favor of ROC. The 8th was the big end. This is the one that made the difference. With his final stone, Schuster makes a chip in on a front stone rock to put 2 rocks in the 12-foot, gets a deuce, goes ahead 5-4. ROC blanks the end in number 9. In the 10th, Schuster makes a great raise on the button. ROC wrecks in the front, and now a measure to see who scores the single. ROC wins it. It goes into an extra. Schuster with a hammer in the 11th. Hits the 4-foot with his final. The score is 6-5. Great game. USA played well. Scores were all in the 80s. Hamilton was the highest guy at 85%. Pardon me, Plies was the highest at 85. Hamilton was 85, and Schuster was at 80. China played Sweden. China's somewhat of an unknown team to us, again, from the host country, but they played pretty well. Sweden won this game with a last draw of the 4-foot, 6-4, but it wasn't an easy one for them by any means. The one other game on the ice, Norway against Switzerland, maybe a little bit of a surprise. Benoit Swartz didn't play that well for Switzerland today. They lost that game to Norway 7-4. And as I look at the percentages, the team was all in the 80s. Swartz himself was a little lower, so that was maybe the difference. And so after one draw, the wins go to Canada, USA, Switzerland, and Norway. That's the way it ended.
Yeah, so no easy games so far. I mean, Ben, you played in this thing. It's like,
It was really good.
I thought it was here.
Yeah, well played. Everything I saw, I again, just like the mixed doubles. I mean, we couldn't suggest that Italy and Britain are going to be any weaker than the other 8 teams in the ice. So I think, again, it's going to be a dogfight. Anybody's going to be able to qualify.
Yeah, good stuff. Warren, you guys made predictions yesterday on some games. How did you and Kevin fare? People are leaning on you guys, Warren, okay, now that we got Coolbet on board. Give us a wrap on that.
Well, I think it's kind of interesting. I think in the game between Canada and Denmark, we both picked Canada. Between USA and the ROC, I picked the USA, he picked the ROC. The game between Norway and Switzerland, I believe he picked Switzerland. I picked Norway. Between China and Sweden, I believe I picked Sweden, and so did he. So that's the way it's settled from yesterday.
So how'd you got? What was your? Did you on the 4 games? Then what was your record?
I think we're both one off.
All right, good enough. I stepped down, by the way. Okay, Ben, I don't do my picks anymore because I was so good. It was showing up, Kevin and Warren. So I didn't do that. Benny boy, let's talk to you about, of course, all things Olympics and all things curling. The mixed doubles was unbelievable. The great story was Italy, of course. And then, unfortunately for us in Canada, it was a loss in the last game for Homan and Morris. So they didn't get into the playoffs. And then this massive discussion from people, and a lot of it was that they were set up for the kill, Morris and Homan, that they didn't have enough time to prep. Everyone's calling into question, is Curling Canada not doing what they should do, and all this jazz. I'm sure you heard some of that, Ben. What's your take on it, on the mixed doubles, and what happened?
Well, I mean, I didn't get to see, obviously, with the time change every single game, but, you know, being a teammate of John and good friend of Rachel, you know, I was certainly dialed in as much as I could be. I mean, a couple of things. The reality of what the random, you know, non-curling people think on the internet, I mean, you can just delete all that because that's nonsense. But
right.
The reality is, you know, I can say I can just use my experience as an example. You know, when we won the trials in 2010 to go to Vancouver and win the Olympics, Curling Canada was helpful. You know, they set us up. The trials were at a certain time. They got houses for our families. They got us tickets. We won the Olympics because of the 4 players on the ice. That's why we won the Olympics. It had nothing to do with Curling Canada. Let's be clear. 2018, we win the trials. Kevin Cooey. Same amount of time to prep. Curling Canada helped us out, got us tickets, organized, coordination, all the action. We lost. Had nothing to do with Curling Canada.
Right.
We lost because of the 4 people on the ice. So the people that are like throwing stones at Curling Canada for this and that and when the trials was, and like, listen, they don't make or break our wins for us. Not right now. Not currently today with our current setup of funding and what they do and how we win or how we get to the Olympics through qualification. Now, do I think changes are coming to Curling Canada where they might start investing a little bit more into high performance and taking more of a bigger role in our wins and losses? I do believe that is coming. But the current makeup of what they do right now, the people that want to like the players need to take some accountability. Straight up. We know our program. We get what we get. Put the time in, and when we won, we earned it. And we lost, we earned it. So I have no blame at Curling Canada. Now, they also were put in a little bit of a crazy position this year with having the trials and the COVID or whatever the hell was going on and had to cancel, right? So they picked the right team. I don't think there was even another team they could have considered picking, to be honest with you, in that situation. They took the 2 best players, they took the defending champ, and they took the best player in mixed doubles history, and they put him on the ice for our country. So I got no argument with who they picked. John and Rachel were prepared. John and Rachel had 2 weeks, 3 weeks in Canmore, prepping, practicing. You know, the best John Morris I ever see when I curl with him is when he's dialed in and he puts in a lot of time in practices. Because, I mean, I don't care what Johnny says. Sometimes he doesn't do it. He's that good, right? So when Johnny's prepped and he's putting in the time, you know, he's arguably not the best third in the world. He's maybe the best curler of all time, right? So I know that they were dialed in. They had great coaching and support from Scott Pfeiffer. And they wanted to be there. And I think the pressure of going to the Olympic Games is astronomical for a team that qualifies to go. I felt it twice. The pressure of a team that gets chosen to go in that situation, way higher than I could ever imagine. And no, they didn't win. And so, yeah, there's going to be the naysayers pointing fingers. There's no other 2 curlers that, and hey, other teams could have went there and qualified for the playoffs and won. I'm not saying that. It's a curling bonspiel. Whoever gets hot. But I don't think there's any other curlers that would understand the pressure that would have on you going there, being chosen. And I think that's another reason that they took John and Rachel is they knew John could handle that, and I think Rachel as well. Now, they lost. But the product on the ice wasn't I don't think it was because of the time they got picked in. They were the wrong players. They weren't prepared. Curling Canada didn't help them out. I think their mechanics were good. They were throwing a lot of rocks. They were ready to roll. The field was very, very tough from what I saw. I mean, call it what it was. When John and Caitlin won, that was a Mickey Mouse field, right? Like they weren't. It was going to be hard for them to lose that event. And I think if the field was the same with John and Rachel this time, they'd still be standing on the top of it. The field was deep. The teams were very, very good. They practiced that game, and they played well. I think the difference between John and Rachel, from what I saw, like, I'm not going to be the curling expert on this because I didn't see every single game, but the games that I saw early in the week, I thought John was struggling, and I thought Rachel was amazing. I thought she really, really played good. And then the last 3 games I saw John cranking it up a notch, and I saw Rachel struggling. I just felt like they couldn't get it going at the same time. You know, we talk about that on our men's teams, and I know other teams, and if you get all 4 players, you know, men and women, mixed doubles, going at the same time, you can really get that fine-tuned machine going. If you have a little bit of a squeaky wheel at one position, it can really impact the game. And that's kind of what I saw, which was unfortunate because they both had moments of brilliance. But I think when you watch the teams that were in the playoffs, like did they lose to all 4 teams in the playoffs? I think they did.
No.
No?
Yes, you're right.
Or did they beat Norway?
Yes.
They end up 5-4.
They beat Norway, yes.
Okay. So I think that the teams that beat them were just a little bit more consistent. I actually don't think any of those teams are better than John and Rachel. Like, they were just more consistent throughout the week. They didn't have the highs and the lows. And, I mean, and call it what it is. You know, I saw people cranky about that last rock that Rachel missed the pinhole. Like, that was a really tough shot. Especially in the situation, That was a really tough shot. Like, we had backing. They had like a 1/4 inch of a rock of side backing. Very, very tough shot. Right. That wasn't, you know, they needed to beat the Australians. There's no, that's a team that they just can't lose to. Those 2 experienced curlers on that stage, you can't lose to the Aussies. And then, you know, Rachel's got to make that last one in 8. You know, Johnny makes the triple in 8. Rach has that come around the one top 12 to the back 8. Rachel probably makes that 8 out of 10. She makes that, they're in the playoffs, and then you got to get hot for 2 games, right? So I would have loved to see them get in the playoffs because I thought they could have done some damage there, especially to get Italy back-to-back. They should have won that game, but I feel for them. You know, those are 2 of my really good friends in the sport. Obviously, Johnny's my teammate. I got all the respect in the world for Rachel. But disappointing. You know, no one's going to be more disappointing than them. You know, they got to live with that. They're going to have that knot in their stomach for however long. I still get upset of losing that semifinal game in Pyeongchang that we definitely should have won. And, it sucks. But, you know, the finger pointing at whose fault it was and yada, yada, it's ridiculous. I mean, we sent our best team. It was the only choice that we had to send. And the situation played out itself with COVID. But they were prepared. I know that they wouldn't say, John and Rachel aren't going to make excuses and say, you know, and I'll tell you right now, John would think the same as me, where John didn't win the Olympics in Pyeongchang in mixed doubles because of winning the trials or Curling Canada picking him or all the things they did for him. Curling Canada took care of Rachel and John, set them up for success, and they just have to perform better. And sometimes that's what it comes down to.
Get your thoughts on something else that's going back and forth and a lot of different opinions within the players themselves. Interesting to know what you think. The timing of the trials for 4-person and the timing of trials for mixed doubles. When do you think the best time is for those things to happen?
Yeah, I mean, this year with the trials, the last weekend in November, you know, to give Brad 8-9 full weeks to go over. I like that better than middle of December because Christmas is kind of a bit of a blur, right? Especially if, you know, you got family and kids, you kind of take a week there. I don't mind the trials when they are. I certainly like them the year of the Olympics. I don't like qualifying them the year prior. I think that takes a lot of energy out of our sport for every single other team involved in Canada. And if you look at corporate dollars today, you know, we try to sign 2-year, 4-year deals to try to go to the Olympic Games. That's our goal. And after 3 years, if you're not the Olympic team, are your corporate supporters going to be gone? Are they going to say, well, you have no chance to go to the Olympics because they qualify this past April, and every other team gets pushed to the side, hogwashed for, one team to benefit all through the whole season. I don't like that. I don't think that, I'm a big supporter for curling in general. I know the Olympics is going on right now, and it's the big dance. And hey, I've been fortunate enough to go to 2 of them. I know how big it is. Grand Slams are big. Briar's big. World Championships are big. So to bury the whole next season based off the 2 Olympic teams going, because that's the big feather in the cap, I'd like to give everybody the opportunity that year still to win. And I also don't like throwing every other event out the window. I'm going to the Briar here in, 4 weeks. And I know our goal was to win the trials. I'd love to be at the Olympics, but we're just as dialed for this Briar as any other Briar. I'm not going to downplay it because it's an Olympic year. Those are big events. Those are major events. And then we have 2 great Grand Slams to finish the season. So I think it puts too much emphasis on one or, well, I guess it'd be 2 teams or 3 teams, right? The mixed doubles, the women's and the men's, and takes away from a really good curling season all around. But that's my opinion. I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
So the timing of mixed doubles, I think, is too tight with what they've done
100%.
this past year.
Yeah, they should probably move that back.
So I think the other question that comes in here, and that is, can you play in both? So the United States, I think, to some degree has it right, because they do their mixed doubles trials before they do the 4-person trials, but then they can play in both events if they choose to. What do you think that should be? Should you be able to go in both if you want to?
If Curling Canada wanted to make the rule that if you wanted to play both or if you qualified for both, you could play, I see no problem with that. I don't know a lot of players that would play both or would want to play both. I don't know a lot of teammates that would want their teammates playing in both. I'll tell you right now, if we were the men's team and John qualified for the mixed doubles, he wouldn't be playing the mixed doubles. Not like me and Kevin Cooey are the bosses, but Johnny doesn't, that mixed doubles is a hard sport. Very, very hard sport. It's fast, it's quick, it's physical. You get 1 day off in between. That's a lot of sweeping. If I'm your teammate and I'm sweeping with you for 10 days and we're all practicing leading up, and you're not with us for the first 9 days of training because you're playing mixed doubles, and then you come into game 1 sore and you're hurting and people have to pick up the slack, I don't like it. I'd rather personally have the practice and prep with my team, all 4 of us be there together, and all feeling fresh and have the same goal in mind. I think the end to that spiel, watching Bruce leak oil the way he did, I think that could maybe affect him going into the men's with his confidence, because he's been winning everything, and he's been playing 90 to 95% at skip all season, playing great. And going into the men's, if he didn't take a few on the chin there in mixed doubles, he would have had that uber confidence going, chest out swagger, mow at the Bruce or whatever the hell they call him. He's been having such a great, that doubt doesn't seep into his mind because he's been dominating, and they're the favorites heading in. But him taking a few lumps there towards the end of that mixed doubles, I know my mind would be like, I am human, and maybe I'm not invincible, and I think that might affect him. So here's the thing. We're about to find out, because if they're not in that gold medal game, playing for gold or silver, major disappointment for them after the last 2 seasons they've had. And if they don't, I'll single-handedly attribute it to playing in the mixed doubles and gassing your skip. But again, that's just what I think. Some of these countries, you got to understand, they don't care. Canada's deep enough that we don't have to send our men's and women's teams to mixed doubles. We're deep enough, guys. Some of these other countries aren't. So for them to send the teams they send, there's rhyme and reason behind that. And I'd like to see, I truly do believe in this, the Olympics is such a hard event to get to the games, that the more athletes we can send to have that experience and to say, I got to go to one of the games in Beijing and I got to be, take my picture with the rings. That's a special thing. For someone to double dip on that and take it away from someone else who's also a very, very good player or team, I'd like to see the more athletes go the more athletes that go, the better in curling for us.
Right. We really want you to give us your opinions, Ben, on this stuff. Okay, don't you're holding back.
Don't hold back.
Okay.
If you want the truth, you got the right guy. Okay.
Yeah, right on. So the men's is underway. We want to get your predictions about that. Before we do that, I want to, I suspect the biggest change in curling, Ben, since you've been curling at a high level, is all the other countries have gotten way better since then. Canada, like you make the point, they're really deep, but they're not winning everything in sight all the time. Can you put your finger on why that has happened? Or how did they get better? Are they doing something different than Canadian teams?
Well, they're definitely doing something different. The way they run their national team program, where they pick, one, maybe sometimes two teams, and they invest all their funds and time and energy into those teams to make them great teams. Those teams are great. I mean, I think people harp on Curling Canada about, the way they run this program, the way they ran this program, etc. Guys, Curling Canada didn't need to switch their damn program. We dominated for so many years. Why would you change? And I don't look at the association as they're not massive forward thinking. They're a bit reactive, but they're not dumb. There's smart people in there. I think they see what's happening. And I think you're going to see the national team program change. I think you're going to see Curling Canada spend some money on their high performance, which right now mostly comes from Own the Podium and other avenues. I think that Curling Canada had no need to change because we were doing well, and then 2018 we lost. 2000 whatever it was, 21 last year. Carey got 6th at the Worlds. Botcher got 6th at the Worlds. We're slipping a bit, but we haven't changed anything from our governing body on the support side of it. So I think what these other teams are doing when they say, we're taking 4-8 athletes, we're going to fund them all, we're going to turn them into full-time players, training, throwing rocks, coaching, video. We don't have that. If we have it, we do it on our own. We do it with our own sponsors that we have to go out and chase. But I think that's going to change. I think Curling Canada is going to really start rewarding the teams that are putting in the work and putting in the time and want to be full-time curlers to get to the top of the podium and to surpass Hasselberg and Elena Patz and Adine and Mowat. I mean, guys, my team Cooey could go beat Adine and Mowat any given day. So could Brad Gushu. So could Brad Jacobs. But consistently, we have a hard time keeping up with the stuff that they're doing every single day. We're working jobs.
Yeah, good point. So what do you think is going to happen in the Olympics this year? If you had to pick the 4 finalists, for example, who are you picking?
In the men's or the women's?
In the men's.
Oh.
Well, I'm taking the top 3 favorites for sure. I'm taking Adine, Mowat, and Gushu, and I think it's a coin toss between the 3 of them. I think all 3 of them are really, really good teams. I think they're all very well prepared, and I have no clue. I don't really have an opinion on the 3 because I think they're all pretty equal, to be honest with you. And the 4th spot, I think, is wide open. I have no clue who it's going to be, but I'd be very, very shocked if those top 3 teams weren't in the playoffs. I think there's one spot up for grabs.
I'm leaning on you for your picks. You're giving 3 teams a tie.
Well, what do you want? You want like a gold, silver, bronze?
Yeah, I want a gold, silver, bronze.
I mean, anything can happen in the Olympics. Schuster won, for God's sakes. So, I think it depends on ice conditions. I need to see how the ice looks. We want to see if the ice is really good. Gold, silver, bronze is those 3 teams. They're too good. They're too strong. They're too prepared. I don't know, man. I honestly have no prediction because I think it could be either color for all 3 of them. But if the ice isn't good and it gets tricky and Hansi's up to his airflow, whatever the hell issues he has going on there is his typical thing, then I think it opens up the door for some upsets.
All right.
So I'm not there yet. I got to watch a game first.
Hey, what about the women's?
Okay, I'll go there. I got Switzerland winning gold. And Elena Patz is just full killer. I think she's the best curler in the world, possibly on the women's game. She's awesome. They're super prepared. I got Jen Jones getting silver. I think that Jen's team is very, very good. I think the 3 people in front of her You know, they're as good as anyone in the game today at those positions. And I think Jen herself kind of gets amped up for the big events. You know, you might not see that consistency out of Jen anymore. You know, she's a little bit older. She's done everything there is to win. You know, I've played with a skip like that in the past who maybe is on this podcast or not. But and I think though the big games and the big events she can get up for, and I think they're going to have a good week. And I got her winning a medal. We'll put her at silver. And I want to say Hasselberg because I still think they're as good of a team as anybody here. Haven't had as good of a season. You know, they've been struggling a little bit. I know they've had a couple injuries. They had a little COVID issue at the start of this week. But I'll go with an upset, and I'll say USA gets bronze. I like the USA team.
Okay, yeah, that's man. A good team.
Whip over to Coolbet. Yeah, you've got Ben's predictions now. Warren, do you want to give us your quick ones here before we take a break?
I think we did that yesterday, Jim.
Okay. Oh, it's all okay. I'm forgetting. Okay, I'll have to go back. When we come back, we got a bunch of other games happening. The draws are well underway, and we'll get you guys to give us your picks for the next draws. We'll be right back. We are joined by our guest who has more hardware than anybody in curling. But if the sport ever needed, do you like this title, Ben Hebert? If they ever needed a lively guy, a personality. That's big. That's big pressure. That's more than winning a gold, where they come on and go, okay, Ben Hebert's the best character ever to be in curling. Do you like that handle?
Well, sometimes. But I don't think everybody would say that. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
You got to take the good with the bad.
Right on, man. Okay, we got some draws that we want your predictions on. The women's first draw. You can bang these off. I'll give you the games. Great Britain is playing Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Okay, Denmark against China.
I don't know either team. Who are they?
Okay, go with China then. I'll fill in for you.
I'll take the hometown team. Hometown crowd.
Okay. Sweden and Japan.
Sweden.
ROC, Russia Olympic Committee, against the U.S.
USA.
All right. After you gave Schuster a little zinger there.
Well, those are women's, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, come on, man. That Tabitha Peterson's a player.
The quote of the show.
Well,
anyone
the
can
zinger,
win the Olympics, for God's sakes, John Schuster did.
Hey, I'm allowed to zing him. He beat me. Christ.
Okay. Okay, Warren, let's get yours for the women's draw, and then we'll bang off the other two.
All right.
Switzerland.
I'm going to have to pick Switzerland. I think
all right.
Pats is going to be outstanding, as she has been of recent. In the second one, Denmark versus China. I'm going to go with China. Madeline Dupont, I don't think, but who knows, but I think China will probably come in there, even though I don't know the team. I think Sweden will take Japan, and USA will be over Russia.
Okay, very good. Men's draw number 2, Ben. USA versus Sweden. Good one there.
Well, I'm taking Sweden, even though old Schusty Cakes has Sweden's number for some reason. Schuster has not been consistently great, I don't think, over the last couple of years, and I think Nicholas probably has a little chip on his shoulder from the USA knocking him off the last games, and I'm just going with the better team.
What did you call them? Schusty Cakes?
Schusty Cakes, yeah.
Schusty Cakes. Norway and Canada. Careful now.
Oh, no contest. I mean, Gushu might lose a couple games. Like, there's a good field here, but it ain't going to beat a Norway.
China against ROC, Russian Olympic Committee.
ROC.
ROC?
Yeah.
Johnny Mowat and Italy.
Man, I'm taking Mowat. You know, they're the number one team in the world, but that Italy team's impressive. Yeah. So I knew, I saw that, is it Amos?
Mosaner.
From the mixed doubles?
Yeah.
Mosaner.
Yeah.
He's awesome. I remember playing him 2018 Olympics and then 2019 Worlds, and I thought he was a great player then. He's huge. He's getting more experience. He's obviously making a ton of shots. I think Italy's a very good pick to finish to get in the playoffs with these other three teams that I took.
Well, the guy's arm. This guy's about 70 feet tall.
Yeah,
his arm can reach the other hog line. crazy.
I'll take the Scots, but I like that Italy team.
Okay. Warren, what about you? First game, U.S. Sweden.
Well, after watching the U.S. this morning and the way they shot, I will pick Schuste over Sweden. I think they seem to have it together, but we'll see. Canada, of course, over Norway. I think that will be a given. ROC this morning again, Glukov, they played very well. And the China team is an unknown, so I've got to go with them. Great Britain, Italy. Well, I guess we'll find out in that game to some degree because that will be Mowatt's first game, I believe, how the mixed doubles impacted him because he's got a very formidable foe there, but I'm still going to go with Mowat.
Okay. Okay, Ben, one more draw. The women's second draw comes up later on. Canada and Korea.
Canada. Yeah.
Sweden and Great Britain.
Hasselberg, Sweden.
Okay, there we go. And U.S. against Denmark.
USA.
All right, good boy. China, Switzerland.
Switzerland all day.
Swiss all day. Okay. What about you, Warren?
I think I pretty much agree with Ben. Canada over Korea, Sweden over Great Britain, USA over Denmark, and Switzerland over China.
That's the free money.
There we go. What's before we let you go, Ben? What's Brad doing that nobody else is doing? Brad Gusha, what a long run this guy's having. Of course, he's gonna, he's at the Olympics. He's our guy. What made that team so good?
Oh, they got. They're strong. I think. Brad's a great player. Been a great player for a long time. Mm-hmm. Obviously, has one of the best front ends in the world. Mark Nichols' game is really good. I think they work hard. I think they're pretty good. They got a good program with youth and veteran leadership on that team. I think their goals, they all have the same goals. They're committed to doing the same stuff. I think the three of them being out there in Newfoundland and being able to put the work in together is certainly showing. I think that's the one thing when you see Sweden and Scotland doing all the time practicing as a team. I think that's the one thing Team Gushu does very well is get all four guys together and certainly the three of them with Jeff being out in Alberta. And I think more than anything, I don't think Brad Gushu's team's high game, like their ceiling game, maybe it's not as good as Brad Jacobs. Maybe it's not as good as Kevin Cooey's because, he's missing a few weapons in his arsenal. Mm-hmm. But his consistent game is unmatched. He doesn't have a lot of bad games. He might not fire a 95 or 97 a whole bunch, but he's always between 88 and 92. And when you're skipping, that's very, very tough to beat. Really consistent, obviously knows the game. His experience is coming in. And I think, Brad was hurt there for a couple of years, and I think you saw it because their team didn't have very good success there for a few years and looks pretty healthy, and he's playing well. So I think, hey, we lost to them, and we were in that trials with a good chance to go. We finished third, but, for my opinion, I play against them. I think they were the best team this year. They were the best team at that event, and so they were the best team. They're the best rep we got right now. They're playing the best, and they're going to have a good shot to win.
Right. Not everyone's picking Canada. Some of the the betting sites, some of them don't have Canada winning a medal at all. So, Ben Hebert, thanks a lot, man, for coming on. Thank you for your picks. Okay. By the way, go over to Coolbet. They're a proud sponsor of curling, and frankly, all things ice related. The logo's a polar bear, after all. If you love sports, make sure you join the thousands of people already enjoying life inside the Coolbet community. Thanks a lot, Ben. Take it easy, man.
Take it easy.
So there we go, Warren. You've organized curling. You've been around curling your whole life, Warren. Ben Hebert, great guy to have involved, isn't he, in this game? I love his opinions, whether you agree with them or not.
There's one thing you'll never accuse Benny of is sitting on the fence.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll know where he stands.
Yeah, exactly. But he's credible, right? He's credible. So
yeah, he's very.
There you go.
Very...
If you're feeling so inclined, why don't you whip over to the Coolbet website and throw down a wager? You heard our predictions. We do this each and every day, all through the Olympics. It's called the Daily Draw, and it drops about 1:00 every afternoon. So thanks a lot for everyone for listening. We really appreciate it. We're getting a lot of response from people. One person emailed me, Warren, saying, it's like going to church every day. I need to have it. The show. So send us an email, insidecurling@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Check out our Facebook page and our Facebook group. Thanks a lot to Rod Paulson for handling that. It's live. Tons of action on that and lots of opinions. So there you have it, Warren. Another day for you. When do you get a day off, Warren?
I think almost told me Saturday that I'll have a day off.
Okay, good.
It'll be something I'll be looking forward to. But Kevin will be back with us tomorrow, so he'll be well rested and full of vim and vigor.
Right on. Okay, take it easy, Warren, and we'll talk to everyone tomorrow. You've been listening to the Daily Draw, special episode from Inside Curling. By the way, before you take off, everybody, Jonathan Brazo, one of the great people behind the scenes here working on this, writes a daily piece, Warren. It's pretty cool. Go to Sportsnet. It's called 8 Ends. I've been reading it. This guy knows what he's talking about. So check that out, everybody.